Hello, friends. I got distracted. I looked at the clock at 9:45 and I got lots of time. And then, lo and behold, it's 10 o'clock. So I need to go close some doors. And I will, I need to close this one too. I don't want to let any mice in. Anyone here with me? I'm all by myself. Is it really 10 o'clock? How did it become 10 o'clock? Okay. Not that it matters. Hopefully y'all are here with me. Yes, Jill, I'm okay. I forgot. I got lost in space. I was looking up ice cream parlors because tomorrow is a day we're celebrating with a particular person. And I thought they might enjoy a traditional ice cream parlor. Good morning, Jill. But I can't seem to find one. And so we were talking about what I had in mind, Cindy and I, and she couldn't think of any traditional ice cream parlors where you go and they give you you can get the banana split with the different ice cream flavors you want, and you get to pick all the different things, and then they put the peanuts and the cherry and all that goodness. I can't think of one that's close by. And no one seems to know of any. So if you know of any traditional ice cream parlors where you're sitting down like a booth and they bring it to you, like I know I could kind of get that at like 31 Flavors, but it's not the vision. And sometimes you need the vision needs to match the reality. And so if you can think of any, you let me know so I can make this happen. If not, we got other plans. So don't forget you can like and subscribe, and don't forget that you can put any questions in the chat, and I will endeavor to answer them at the end. So announcement-wise, if you want invite cards, I've got some that I would love to give to you that you can use to invite people to church. You can hand these out. You can keep them in your purse or in your wallet. And when you meet someone and you want to invite them to church, great little thingy-mabob to do that with. So let me know if you want some, and I will gladly give you some. And on that note, just outreach type stuff. We have Family Fall Fest. I think it's Family Fall Fest. I always misorder it and all that. And then someone corrects me. And I came up with the name, and I still mix it up. So that's going to be on October 26th. So be planning for that. Be thinking about it. Be thinking about who you can invite, praying for it. And we would love for you to help participate. And just as we seek to build relationships with the community around us, and we want to see people come to know the Lord. We want to be light in the darkness. We want to let our light shine. And we do that when we're in the community and we're interacting with people and getting to know them. So I would encourage you to participate and think about who you can invite to come to that. All right. We are in Acts 22 to 29. And friends, I am so discombobulated. I didn't even plug in my iPad. It's not even out of my backpack yet. So let's go. See, this is what happens when you get a head cold. Okay, let's hope this works. Boom. We are good to go. We are cooking. All right. So this is if you remember, this is after the Apostle Paul has been arrested, unlawfully detained because people have lied about him, and he's been taken by the cohort, and they're protecting him, and he's just spoken to the crowd in Aramaic, in Hebrew, the language of the people, and he's they've been listening to him up until the point that he says, Jesus told me he would send him to the Gentiles, which the Jews are like, what? God's not going to send you to the Gentiles. The Gentiles can't know the Lord. They can't worship Yahweh. They're unclean. God would never do such a thing. And yet, That's exactly what God does. Thanks be the Lord. So up until this, they listened to him. Then they raised their voice and said, "Away with such a fellow from the earth! He get rid of this guy. We should kill him. He should not even be allowed to live." The Apostle Paul is, in their minds, so wrong, so out of touch that he deserves death. He should not be allowed to speak to anyone. He should be silenced. He is trouble. So let's get rid of him. And they want the Romans to do it for him. And they're trying to get rid of him. And but Paul is being protected by the Roman cohort at this point. They are surrounding him and making sure that no one can really do anything to him. Because if you're a Jewish person and you try to hit Paul and you inadvertently hit one of the Roman soldiers, it's really not going to go well for you. They don't take kindly to that. They don't. The idea of showing restraint in a environment like this as a Roman soldier, they just wouldn't do it, because they operated by Pax Roma, which is Roman peace, which was peace by the sword, and you subdued everyone, and so it would be costly if you inadvertently hit a Roman soldier, because you know what, they don't wear body cams. There's no court that's gonna sentence them to jail. Like if you do something and he pulls his sword and he stabs you, it's your own fault, regardless of if that's actually true. And so Paul's being protected, and so they are shouting and throwing off their cloaks and flinging dust into the air. They are, to the best of their ability, protesting what Paul is saying. And so the tribune ordered him to be brought into the barracks, saying that he should be examined by flogging. They're going to torture him to get the information out of him to find out what is actually going on. The tribune's job is to quell the uproar and to make peace be just make it be peaceful. They don't want riots. But their means of preventing riots is by the sword and by punishment. And so they take Paul out, and they're getting ready to flog him, which is whipping him with a cat of nine tails and beating him and just doing generally not enjoyable things for Paul. Not like he wants this to happen to him. And they're shouting against him like this. So the tribune is trying to figure out why they're shouting at Paul, why they're so angry with Paul. What did you do to cause this to happen? Like, are you that Egyptian guy? No, like you're a lawful Jew. What is happening? What has caused these people to respond in such a way? So he's the way they know how to do this is by torture. It's an effective means to get information out of someone. Oftentimes, societies and cultures and armies have used it for forever. People, unfortunately, still use it, and it's the means by which they would accomplish the task of giving as much information as they needed. But when they had stretched him out for the whips, so they're going to take his arms and probably put him up like this and attach him so his back is fully open and he can't do anything. Like, he can't flinch. He's just stuck there. He is going to get whipped. But Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, so he's speaking to the guy in charge, and he says, "Is it lawful for you to flog a man who is a Roman citizen and uncondemned?" The answer to that is no. And so Paul is playing his card. Paul has a resource available to him that he is going to use to further his purposes. You notice in lots of times, Paul actually doesn't use this card, but in this instance, in this moment, he is going to use it as a means of preventing himself from getting whipped. Smart thinking. hey, if you're a legal citizen and you can prevent yourself from getting injured, it's probably best that you take it. And so when the centurion heard this, he went to the tribune and said to him, "What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman citizen." If a Roman soldier were to flog a man, to whip a man who is a Roman citizen and who has not received trial, they'd be in big trouble. They'd be in huge trouble. And so the centurion's like, whoa, let's pump the brakes. Let's stop. Let's slow down because I don't want this on my head. So he goes to his boss and he says, "Hey, what are you thinking doing this to a Roman citizen?" And it's not like there were any like distinguishing marks on Paul's body that shows, hey, he's a Roman citizen. It's not like they could lift up his coattail and see, oh, he's tattooed Roman citizen. No, he had to tell them, just like if you were somewhere and you go to the American consulate and you're or the American embassy in a foreign country, you have to do something to show that you could say, hey, I'm an American citizen, and then they're going to seek to verify it. You could show them your passport. Paul tells them verbally, I'm a Roman citizen. And so the tribune came and said to him, tell me, are you a Roman citizen? He said, yes. And the tribune said, I bought this citizenship for a large sum. And Paul said, but I am a citizen by birth. And so citizenship could be gained in different ways. If you were born in a Roman city under family that were citizens, you would have the birthright of being a citizen. It's not like I don't believe it's like our citizenship, where if you're born in the country, you're automatically a citizen. I believe, I don't know this for certain, but if my memory serves me correctly, you had to be born of existing Roman citizens to be a citizen by birth. So I'm pretty sure Paul's parents were citizens. And potentially they had earned it. They bought it like the tribune, because Paul is Jewish. So he wasn't Roman by ethnicity. He was, but he was born in Tarsus, so it's a Roman city. And you could buy your citizenship. You could get someone to help you purchase your citizenship, and you could become a citizen. And that's what this tribune did. And citizenship for the tribune is kind of second tier. To be a Roman citizen by birth is a notch above being a citizen by purchase. So those who were about to examine him withdrew from him immediately, and the tribune also was afraid, for he realized that Paul was a Roman citizen, that he had bound him. He did a big no-no. He treated a Roman citizen in a way that he was not supposed to. He treated him against the law. It's like if a police officer here was to do something to a citizen that is against the law, he could get in big trouble. Same thing with this guy. He knows that if Paul really wanted to press the issue, he could get the tribune in trouble. And so they say, whoa, we're gonna hold up, we're gonna pull the reins, we're gonna slow the horses, we're gonna stop, and we're gonna figure out how to move forward from this. And so Paul uses his resource. It's interesting when you think about that Paul looked at his situation and he used the resource that was available to him to the best of his circumstances to continue to foster the purpose for which he's at work. He wants to continue to be able to minister. He wants to continue to preach the gospel. And so he's not just going to let himself be taken away. And so he uses the political resources that he has available to him to accomplish tasks. He's not going to unnecessarily take persecution. Friends, we are called to endure suffering. We're called to endure persecution. We're called to suffer like Christ. But it is also okay to not willingly, that's not the right way to phrase it. It is okay to not unnecessarily subject ourselves to persecution or pain and suffering. And it's okay to use certain aspects of the political system that you're in to accomplish it. Like, we should promote free speech for Christians to live their lives according to their conscience, according to their faith, because we have the First Amendment. We should promote those things. So we should desire to see Christians not persecuted for wanting to live out their faith in a faithful and quiet manner. So like the cake baker who gets sued because they won't make a wedding cake for LGBTQ wedding. We should be in favor of the courts finding in favor of that cake baker just trying to faithfully live out their faith and not support something, not celebrate something that they're not in favor of. We should seek to use the means that God has providentially given us to seek to accomplish God's purposes. We don't trust in men. We don't trust in political systems, but we can use the political systems that are available to us. Our hope is in the Lord, ultimately. But if you look throughout the history of God's people, there have been times where God has sovereignly and providentially put people into power who help God's people, even though those people aren't believers. You think of like Cyrus the Great or Darius the Mede. You think of Nebuchadnezzar, and you think of these individuals who really actually helped God's people along the way, but at times persecuted and did terrible things. Like when the Jews went to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, they had the help of a foreign power to rebuild the temple, and they provided for it. They provided protection, and they actually provided grants to help rebuild the temple. And then eventually when they go to rebuild the walls in Jerusalem, they are provided for as well. And so it's okay to use the resources that are available to us through the political system, as long as the trust is in the Lord, not the trust in the political system. Friends, I think that's an important reminder for us, especially this year as we're going into election season, craziness, and the Lord ultimately puts whoever's in power, and He has orchestrated the system that we have, and across the world, all of them. They're not there by accident. God sovereignly, providentially works those things for His purposes. And so we pray and we ask God to be at work, and we trust Him, and we use the resources He's given us. And so for us, that one of those resources is voting. I did not intend to go on a tangent about political interaction. I'm pretty apolitical. I don't talk about politics very much. That's not the purpose of my job. Paul instructs Timothy to a soldier is not consumed with civilian affairs. So I keep my hands out of that stuff. I don't make much comments about it. Anyhow. But I think the nature of this text, this passage, shows us seeing the Apostle Paul use the resource he was given as a citizen of Rome. That's all I'm saying, is God had given Paul that resource. God ordained providentially. Paul was born in the place he was born, to the parents he was born, for the purpose for which he was born, and he had that available to him. We should follow his example and use what God has given us to seek to further God's kingdom in our day and age. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all we got. That's all I got. It is really warm in here because we had the carpets cleaned yesterday, and so it's kind of like humid. There's moisture on the window, so I'm going to get out of here. Friends, I hope you have a great rest of your week. If you have any questions, if you need anything, you let us know. We are praying for you, and I will see you on Sunday. Signing out.